Hey everyone, it's Angus here. This is about the fifth time I've tried to make this video, so I've got a lot to try and cover, and I either keep running out of time or I make a mistake halfway through or something I'm not happy about and have to start again. So I'm about an hour into this despite you having only watched it for 15 seconds. Right, let's see if this time's the charm. What I want to do is I want to show you how to create your own strategy and then how to get instant alerts when your stock meets that particular strategy. And so you could do this for cryptocurrencies, you can do this for forex, you can do this for any sort of tradable item in the TradingView universe. And I just want to show you how powerful TradingView is when it comes to finding these sorts of setups. So today, a way that I like to try and trade is I like to use Bollinger Band breakouts. And so I'm not going to sort of go too much into what that strategy is. You can Google it, but I just more want to show you I don't want to sort of talk about the strategy because I don't want to convince you that it's the right strategy. What I'm trying to do is say, come up with your own strategy that makes sense to you. And then this is a way that you might be able to take that strategy and then find stocks that meet it by setting up your own parameters, your own filters, your own columns, and your own requirements. But I just want to show you this is how I'm going to do it for this Bollinger Band strategy that I like to trade. So what I'm going to do is first of all, I'm going to add my Bollinger Band indicator. And you can see here, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of scripts within the public library. It's endless. The public library is amazing. All these people have added all these strategies. When I first started, I can tell you now, I clicked on just about every single one of these strategies and had a look at what it did. And there's probably, when I did it, was probably a couple of thousand, and now there's, probably 10,000. So, you can certainly go through the most popular ones and, add them to your charts and see what they all do and see if you find one that makes sense to you. So I'm going to go back to up here. I'm going to type in Bollinger. I'm going to say the standard Bollinger Bands as part of the built-in library. I'm going to add those to my chart. I'm going to say, right, the moment it's a line chart, I'm going to change that to a candlestick chart. So I'm going to click on candles because I like looking at candles better. Again, you can Google it. And if I wanted to make some changes to my Bollinger Band chart, I simply double click on it. And then I can change things like I can change its style. So, this basis line, this middle line here, which is simply at the moment a 20-day moving average because I'm on a daily chart, I can change it to green. So, anytime it's above green, I think great. If it falls below green, then I think no, time to get out. So I'm going to make that green. If say the lines are too dark, like originally the setting for these was, quite a bit bolder and quite a bit stronger. You can see here, this line's now quite bold and it overwhelms my price chart. So if you ever see something like that, and you want it to be thinner or lighter and not so intrusive, you can set, say the thickness down to normal, and you can say make it 50. Or you could even change the color. You could make it red. If you said if it gets to that area there, get out. But for this exercise, I'm going to keep it at I think it was this blue color here. It's going to go okay. So again, without going into too much about how to customize your indicators and charts, that's just a really quick lesson as to how you can do it. You can obviously also change your parameters. So if I wanted to go back here, and if for some reason I wanted to, change it to say 3 standard deviations away from that middle line, you can see it's now made it wider. And if I wanted to make it narrow, I could make it narrower. But I'd always say to you, try and stick with whatever the default parameters are, because typically that's what most people are looking at. So the other two things that I'd like to add to this is I'd like to add an RSI, relative strength. So again, you can Google what the relative strength indicator is. And I also like to add a MACD. These are sort of two of the most popular indicators. They're good momentum and good value indicators, and they just give you an idea of what might be happening with the stock. So, my RSI is there, my MACD is there. I find that line a little bit hard to see on the purple background. So what I'm going to do is, my whole strategy is green is good. So I'm going to go styles. I'm going to change that purple. I'm going to make that, let's say, a green. I'm going to make it a bit thicker so you can see how now I can see it a bit better. And the other thing I'm going to do is inputs, style rather. So it's 70, the middle band's at 50 and the lower band's at 30. I might make the low one 40 and I might make the top one 80 just to give me a bit more room. And so I'm going to go okay. The way that I like to trade is if it's somewhere in this purple area here, then I think that's good. And I want it to be pointing up before I take a trade. So, here where it's starting to point up, then I'd look at maybe taking a trade there. But I'd want to also make sure, just for confirmation, that, the histogram here is green, so that it's sort of building a hill. And then you can sort of see the momentum's fading when the hill starts to, go down the hill. And eventually it'll cross over here. So it just depends on how you like to trade MACDs. But again, it's something you can Google, and there's 101 YouTube videos on how to do that. So I've now kind of got my chart set up, and most people will, or a lot of people will, pick, say, a handful of stocks, and they'll trade those same stocks over and over and over again. They get more and more familiar with the stock and how it moves, and then that way, you get super familiar with it. And some people like to focus on those particular stocks. What I'd like to do is say, well, if you've got 9,000 stocks, rather than waiting for a particular setup on one of them, I could say, if I like this particular stock, I might say, well, let me turn on my little toolbar. Again, there's videos on how to do that. But I might say, if I sort of go across 3 points, that was like a high there, and it found resistance. And so I might say, well, I'm going to wait until it breaks above that point there, because you can see it's another point there, but it didn't break above it. There's another point there, and it did break above it, but then it pulled back, but then it broke above it. And so if I wasn't trading my Bollinger Band strategy, and I was just simply trading a price action strategy looking for breakouts, that could be a particularly good area. And I might say, well, let's start to buy this once it's broken out. It's gone above it, it's tested, it's kept going up. So that's probably a good area to buy. So that's just trading a particular breakout strategy. But you can see from the 18th of February to when I bought, around about June, and that's 5 months. So I had to sort of sit on this stock and not take a trade. So that's quite a long time. You could have perhaps said, well, it's resistance area here. If it bounces off resistance, buy it. But this is just a particular support and resistance type strategy. But there was sort of 6 months in between, or 5 months in between when we were taking that trade. So what I prefer to do is find stocks that I can trade today, and trade a bit more aggressively and a bit more frequently. So what I want to do next is I want to then say, well, if I'm looking for a particular type of setup, turn my Bollinger Band back on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the stock screener. And the stock screener is crazy powerful, and I recommend that everyone, have a really good look at it. This is the best way to find alerts and find signals for your particular type of trading. So when you open it up, you've normally got these set headings. You've got your overview, you've got performance. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there you can just go through. You can say, well, let's show me all the stocks where, they've gone up, over the years. So this particular stock here is up 5,000%. 5,000%, 3,000%, 2,000%. So you might want to go and have a look at those. But I'm trying to say, send me an alert when I get a particular strategy. So I'm trying to be a little bit more clever. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding my own columns. So I'll click on this little 3 dots here on the very far right-hand side. These are to add columns. And then I'll go through and I'll say, well, pretend I wanted to add this 1 month pivot, and I wanted to add, I don't, but for the sake of exercise, I want to add dividends per share. You can see now I've got dividends per share, and I've now got that pivot column. And so once you've got, and you can drag them around, you can move them, but once I've got all my columns set up, then this thing here over this left-hand side, this is how you save your column setup. So this is really important. If you don't click on that, see how there's a little asterisk there, then when you come back to it, all your columns will be missing. And this one here on the right-hand side, you also have to save. This will save any filters that you've got it set up. So what I want to do is I'll show you my current column setups for this strategy. So I'm going to go no. And so I've gone through and I've said, here's all the columns that I want to have. So I'm just going to get rid of this one. I'm going to get rid of this one because I know I don't need these two. And so I'm going to say, for as far as I'm concerned, here's the columns out of these 9,000 stocks. Here's the columns that are important to me for this particular strategy. I'm going to get rid of this one. So I've got my rating, I've got my last price, I've got the change today, I've got my relative volume, I've got my RSI for value. I'm going to get rid of my ADX, which is a bit more of a momentum indicator, so just get rid of that for now. I've got weekly, monthly, 3 monthly, yearly, and average volume, and over 90 days. And this one here for this particular strategy is my upper Bollinger Band. So remember how I was saying for my particular strategy, I want to find where the price has crossed above the upper Bollinger Band. So now that I've got my columns correct, I have to go click, save columns as Angus breakout. And so, that's how you save it. So you still haven't filtered anything. You've still got these 9,000 stocks, but now you've got the columns that you want to work with. And so I'm going to now go for my upper Bollinger Band. I want it to be below the last price. And I know that sort of sounds a bit funny, but remember that I actually want the price to be above the upper Bollinger Band. And you can see now I've gone from 9,000 stocks down to 282 stocks. If I want to get rid of that filter, I just click this reset. And so you can see I'm back to 9,080. If you don't have 9,080 roughly when you start, you can also click on filters, and you can click on reset all up here, and that will also get rid of any filters that are running. So let's get on with it. So below last price. So I'm down to 282 from 9,000. I also want to only find stocks where they, let's say, trade more than a million a day, because I want really liquid stocks for this particular strategy. I also want to say only show me stocks where I'm going to be really aggressive and say their annual performance is above 100%. So over the last year, they're up 100%. And so again, I'm now down to 15 stocks. And so you might stop there and you think, yep, that's great. That sort of told me about, stocks where the price is above um, the upper Bollinger Band. They're doing a million, shares a day on, or the, million trades, million shares traded a day on average over 90 days. And the performance is up over 100%. But I also want to only find stocks where they've gone up, because I'm trying to find these really aggressive ones. So I want to say on the particular day, their price is up 2%. And I also want to say, only show me stocks where their volume is up 2 times. This is relative volume. They're basically up double over what I think it's set to the last 10 days, but it's basically saying whatever the average for the last 10 days is, show me stocks where they're doing something unusual in terms of volume. And so I've got that set. So I'm down to 9 stocks. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not so worried about this rating thing, but you can see that, there are buyers and strong buys. This is just, the oscillators, that TradingView has confirming the position. So I just want to double check this. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I could add in more filters like, only show me where they're up over 3 months, show me where their monthly performance they're up, show me their weekly performance up, show me where the RSI. So remember I said the RSI, I actually want it to be between, let's say 50 and 65, because I'm trying to buy it in that sweet spot. So now I'm only down to 2 stocks. So, that's really interesting. So if I click on this one here, so you can see if I go out to a 1-year timeline, so you can see this little indicator here. So that was up 2,400% this year. And it looks like it's doing something unusual. You can see how the volume, there's unusual volume. And my RSI is pointing up. And if I could zoom in a bit more, you can see my MACD is starting to turn green. So there's something unusual happening with OCGN. And so what I then do, you can see it's also the Bollinger Bands compressing, which is obviously a good sign. And you can see that, this stock has made these quite strong moves in the past. So what I would do to trade this is I'd probably put a stop order somewhere around maybe $8.50, because I want to get an aggressive move. So, if it doesn't go up to $8.50, I don't want to take the trade. If it drops down, I'm okay. But if it goes up to $8.50, then I'll buy in when the market opens. But I can also click on this little symbol here, which is news headlines, and I can try and see. It doesn't have news for all the stocks, but I can try and see what's happening here. So let's see. There's always these investor alerts, final deadline. So there's nothing sort of newsworthy about that. So I don't really know why that one's running. I'd then go to Yahoo News and I'd try and see on Yahoo Finance if anything was happening. This same one here, MP Materials Corp, it's saying shareholders to offer 4 million common shares. So that's obviously what's driving the news there. Proposed secondary offering of common stock. So, US House bill would give tax credits for rare earth magnets. It's a little bit in the past. If I wanted to find out more about what the stock does, I'd simply click on this one at the top here. And I could scroll down, and at the bottom it gives me a little bit of a description. Production and marketing of rare earth specialty metals. So rare earths is something that's pretty cool. Just about every device, medical device, electronic device, cars, more and more using these rare earths. So, that could be one that I want to keep an eye on. But again, for the purpose of this exercise, we're just trying to find stocks that meet a certain criteria. So I'm just going to get rid of the RSI for now, because I want to find stocks no matter where they are in their that sort of value area, and be able to take advantage of them as they move. So that's me having shortened my universe of stocks from that 9,000 all the way down to 9 of stocks that I want to keep an eye on. Again, you can see, massive volume here, something unusual happening. RSI is motoring up. It's had a bit of a flat patch through there. So you can say that, price is sort of consolidated, and then it's broken out to the upside, quite dramatically. So if I moved across my support and resistance, which is always good to look at, so you can see it hit that, came back down, hit it, 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 came back down, all the way down, and it's broken through it. So I'd probably expect to see it retest it and then maybe move up again. But so this is a stock that I'd keep an eye on, and just keep it on my watch list. But the most important thing I want to show you as part of this video is how do I get these alerts sent to me automatically? And it's super simple. All I do is I go across to here, this little clock, and I click on this clock that says Enable Alert. So I haven't saved my filters, so thank you very much, this little pop-up tool. And so remember I said you can save the columns by using this one here. And now that I've applied all these filters, what I really want to do is I want to save those so I don't lose it. So I'm going to go save screens as, I'm going to call it the same just so I know which one belongs to which, Angus BB Breakout. I'm going to go save. And so you can now see that it's saved, and I'm going to click on my little clock again. And if you had this open, you were watching the market, you can actually click on this little timer here. And you can see, you can say, refresh every minute. So, you can sit here and, if you're actually watching the market, it'll count down, then it'll hit refresh. And so you can see if that 9 changes when there's something else that meets your criteria. The way I work it out is I flag all the ones that I've seen. And so that when it does refresh, if a new one appears that doesn't have a blue flag, then I know that's the new one. So that's just as a little tip to, be able to work out which one's new, because it'll make you crazy otherwise. So I'm going to go back to manual refresh. But so if I'm not watching the market and I want to get an update, if a stock meets this particular criteria, something unusual is happening and a stock is breaking out, then I click on this little clock here and I go set an alert. And so I'll say, how long do I want to run the alert for? Well, I might run it till, this time next Thursday. And what happens? Well, I want it to show me a pop-up so that I see it if it's online. And if I'm not online, I want it to send me an email. And if I'm online, I want me to play a sound. Or I can also do, send an email to SMS if I want to do that. And what I'll do is I'll have a little message saying new Angus BB breakout, check the stock, or whatever message I want to send myself. And then I'll enable it. And so what happens now is any stock that then meets this particular criteria, so the market can be open, the market can be live, it can be running, and as soon as a stock meets that particular criteria, then I'll get an email and then I can click on it and I can come and see what's happening with that particular stock and if I want to make the trade or not. And what that alert looks like is if I go across to my email, and so you can see these are all the ones that I was sent yesterday. And if I click on screener alert, this is what you get. You basically say, your alert was triggered, it's a new breakout, check on this following ticker. So if I click on that, it'll open up the website and I can then basically go through and say, this was interesting. This is what happened with this particular stock last night. It had a bit of a breakout above the upper Bollinger Band here. There's a little bit extra volume. What's happening with that particular stock, and then I can work out, do I want to take the trade or not? So it's just a crazy simple way of getting automated alerts for the stocks that you're interested in and the trading methodology that you're interested in. I just want to show you one last thing. So if you want to turn it off, you literally click on it to turn it off. You can edit your alert settings. You can, have a look at your alerts log. But, don't forget, if you want to get rid of it, you just go along and you click on it. The other thing I wanted to show you too is these text notes. I now want to record what I've done for this strategy. So I'm going to go new, and I'm going to say Angus Bollinger Band breakout. And so I'm going to say find stocks where price is greater than upper Bollinger. And capital P, hopefully I won't run out of time. Price greater than upper Bollinger. Volume is greater than 1 million average over 90 days. Because then I can start to experiment, I can tweak this and remember what I tried each time. And I can say price is greater than 2%. I can say relative volume is greater than 2. And what else have I got? Stock screener. Average volume, BBR, and yearly performance is the one I'm missing. So I can go and yearly performance is greater than 100%. And so then I can go back to here and click Y. And so this just gives me a really simple way that when I want to say, well, what strategies are working, I can write notes and say, strategy performing well, maybe try 50%. And so I'm running out of time on my video, but this is really cool. You can list, here's a whole bunch of battery stocks that I think are important. Here's a different strategy that I wanted to try. But the main thing, the part of this video is to show you, here's how you can find your own signals. Here's how you can get your own alerts. And it's just a super cool tool that, TradingView yet again provides. Thank you as always for listening. Thank you very much.